Hi, I'm Bob Seitz, and you're looking at Full of Years. Today I'm coming to you from a local Midwestern children's library where books of all kinds just invite any of us to pick one out, find a loving child that we know, a grandchild, let's say, and read a story. Tell me a story, huh? Have you heard that one before? Well, this is a place where you can find those stories, certainly, and pick out that book and plop that child down in your lap and just read carefully and slowly and with great emotion and high delight a story that your grandchild will enjoy. There's another kind of a thing that a library brings to mind is these books were all written by people who knew the stories, who made them up, who had stories, had things to tell. And that gets me to wondering, what if you were able to take seriously this wonderful privilege of telling stories to your grandkids or kids that you take care of? You're a hero, you know. You're their hero. You know that, right? For whatever reasons, perhaps because you belong to that child or they know you well, your exploits in life, the things that you've done, the God moments that have taken you through hard or funny times, the wild people that you've known, those are all the stuff of imaginative and delightful tales that children can learn from. I come from a family of storytellers. In my case, from the hills of Missouri to the suburbs of California and of Los Angeles area. And for some reason, the stories that my parents told, especially my father and my grandfather, were always beyond belief. Partly because they were yarns and there was a little bit of exaggeration and humor that comes from them, if you know how that genre of children's literature has formed. I lived it, and my parents promoted it with their stories, many of which were about them and were always tinged with a little bit of humor. But back to you and back to the little people who think of you as a hero. What would happen if your stories became part of the bonding that you experience with them? What if your lap was a place where they learned about important lessons in life? What if your exploits were heroic or not, were told to them as examples of what it means to be a godly life? You can tell Bible stories too, straight out of the Bible or children's Bible, or as you recall them. You can take objects in your grandchildren's life and animate them into stories as they have adventures together. That's how kids play, and how you play with them might turn into ongoing stories. When I was a younger parent, we had little ladybug figures who became Buggy and Fruggy and had adventures all over our yard and involved our children, of course, as major players in these fantastic stories. I think there's another kind of a story that you can tell that really can be inspiring to your kids, maybe as they get a little bit older, past that young child age, about how it was for you when you were younger. Yeah, the walking barefoot backwards to school, but also in the times that weren't always pleasant, or the things that you used to do together. Those are inspirational and instructional and necessary probably in children's lives, because if generational theories are correct, you have as much or more opportunity to shape your grandkids' life than their own parents or their teachers. You are a mythical figure, perhaps, for some, and as I said, again, heroic, bigger than life. So I invite you today, either go to a library, pick out a good story that will delight children. Those drawings and illustrations are always wonderful, aren't they? Or think of yourself as a master storyteller, as somebody whose life is worth knowing about and recalling it. It's a legacy that you can pass on to those grandchildren, one they will thank you for, and one that will bond you to them for the rest of their lives, shaping their lives in ways that you can never imagine. So, if you hear the word, tell me a story, say yes.